What's up, everybody? Nick Dwyer back for the 10th inning here with another episode of This Day in Sports History. In yesterday's episode, we saw Paul Molitor become only the 5th player in MLB history to join the 3,000 hit / 500 stolen base club. We don't have anything quite like that today, but we do have a Tour de France to get into, as well as some PGA championships and some more Olympic Games to talk about. So if y'all enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. This Day in Sports History. We'll start off today in 1908 at the Tour de France, and Lucien Petit-Breton would successfully defend his title to win his second of 2 Tour victories. Now we'll start with the Olympics in 1936. In the 4x100 meter relay, Jesse Owens would be part of an American team that would win the gold in a world record 39.8 seconds. This would also be Owens' 4th gold medal of these games. Staying in these games and in the marathon, Song Ki-chun would win gold in an Olympic record 2 hours 29 minutes 19.2 seconds for Japan, and then Nam Son-yeon would win bronze for Japan. They would get the 1-3. And the Olympic record would stand until 1952. Then in the 4x100 on the women's side, Helen Stevens would claim the women's sprint double as part of the victorious American team who ran it in 46.9 seconds. She would also win the women's 100 meter final. Finally, in swimming in 36, Hungarian swimmer Ferenc Széth would win the 100 meter freestyle gold medal in 57.6 seconds to claim the gold medal. We now move up 1 year to 1937 and go to the America's Cup, and Ranger of the US of the New York Yacht Club would easily defeat Endeavour II of England in race 4 to win 4-0, give America the victory. We move up now to the 1948 Olympics. We start in cycling, and Italian Mario Gella would win the gold medal in the cycling sprint final. Then in the rowing 8s at those games, the US would win the gold medal, defeating silver medalist Great Britain by 10.2 seconds with a time of 5 minutes 56.7. We now move up all the way to 1971, and we start with the MLB Hall of Fame induction, when Satchel Paige would be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame by the Negro League Committee, along with veteran committee's votes of Rube Marquardt, Chick Haffey, George Weiss, Dave Bancroft, Harry Hooper, Jack Beckley, and Joe Kelly. 5 years later, in 1976, staying in Major League Baseball, Pittsburgh Pirates' John Candelaria would no-hit the Los Angeles Dodgers in a 2-0 victory. Candelaria on the day, 9 innings pitched, 1 walk allowed, 7 strikeouts. The 1 walk is kind of tough, but there were a couple of errors committed by the Pirates either way, so even if he didn't have the walk, no chance of a perfect game. We now move to the PGA Championship in 1981, and Larry Nelson, with a score of 7 under, would win 4 strokes ahead of runner-up Fuzzy Zoeller to win his first of 3 majors. Now we get into the Los Angeles Olympics of 1984, and Daley Thomas of Great Britain would score 8,797 points, adjusted to 8,847 points to win the decathlon, later recognized as a world record, and he would hold this until the 1992 Olympic Games. Stay in those games, and in the women's 200 meter final, American Valerie Briscoe Hooks would defeat Florence Griffith to win the 200 meter gold, completing the 200 meter and the 400 meter double with an Olympic record 21.81 seconds to win her second of 3 gold medals. We get back to the PGA Championship in 1987, and Larry Nelson would once again win the PGA Championship with a score of 1 under to claim his second championship after a playoff with Lanny Watkins. This would be his 3rd and final major. We now move to a blockbuster trade in hockey 1 year later, 1988. Edmonton Oilers would trade away the Great One Wayne Gretzky, Marty McSorley, and Mike Krushelinski to the LA Kings for Jimmy Carson, Martin Galinas, $15 million, and 3 first-round picks. We stay in 1988. After 5,687 consecutive games taking place during the day at the Chicago Northside Ballpark dating back to 1914, the first official Major League night game would take place at Wrigley Field after the day before it would be rained out when they planned to have the original first night game. The Cubs would end up winning this game 6-4 over the New York Mets, making it a good moment in Cubs history. 10 years later, we move to the 1998 British Senior Open, on the men's side, and Brian Huget with a score of 5 under would defeat runner-up Eddie Pollard by 1 stroke in the first playoff hole. We stay in 1998 but move to Major League Baseball, and Dennis Martinez with his 244th career victory would surpass Juan Marichal to become the winningest Latin American pitcher in Major League Baseball history. Martinez would only actually win one more game in his career, and with 245 wins, would be the most of all time until Bartolo Colon would surpass him with 247 career victories. 4 years later, we moved to 2002, remain in baseball, and San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds would hit his 600th career home run. Bonds would join Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and Hank Aaron as the only players to ever reach 600 career home runs. This would come in the 6th inning off of Kip Wells over the center field wall at Pacific Bell Park. Now we move to the Beijing Olympics in 2008, and the United States would take all 3 medals in the women's fencing saber event, the first U.S. podium sweep of a fencing event since 1904, and Marielle Zagunis would take the gold ahead of Seda Jacobson and Rebecca Ward, who would win silver and bronze. From one Olympic Games to another, we moved to 2012 in London, and Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt would win the 200 meter in 19.32 seconds to become the first person to win the 100-200 meter double in back-to-back Olympics. He would also do this in 2008, obviously. Johan Blake would also win silver, and Warren Weir would win bronze, so Jamaica would sweep the medals in the 200 meter. Then in women's football at those games, the USA would defeat Japan 2-1 to win their 4th Olympic gold medal. Carly Lloyd would score both goals for the USA in the 8th minute and the 54th minute. Japan, though, they tried to fight back with a Yuji Nagasato goal in the 63rd minute. It just wasn't enough, though. This was the USA's game. 1 year later, we moved back to Major League Baseball in 2013, and Dan Haren would become the 13th pitcher at the time to record a victory over all 30 Major League Baseball teams, when he would throw 7 solid innings in a 9-2 victory over the Philadelphia Phillies. He would join names such as Al Leiter, Randy Johnson, Barry Zito, Kevin Brown, and Kurt Schilling to accomplish this feat. Now, there are a total of 19 pitchers who have done this. Back to the Olympics now, but we start in 2016. We start with swimming. In the 200 meter butterfly on the men's side, American Michael Phelps would win it in 1 minute 53.36 seconds, just barely beating out Masato Sakai by 0.04 seconds of Japan to win the gold and get his 20th Olympic gold medal. We stick with Phelps now, but now go to the American team in the 4x200 meter freestyle, and with a time of 7 minutes 0.66 seconds, the American team would win gold and Phelps would get his 21st gold medal. Then in the women's 200 meter freestyle, American Katie Ledecky would win her 2nd gold medal of those games with a time of 1 minute 53.73 seconds to win her 2nd of 4 gold medals at those games. Then in the 200 meter individual medley on the women's side, Hungary's Katinka Hosszú would record an Olympic record of 2 minutes 6.58 seconds to win her 3rd gold medal of those games. And we end today's video off at those games in 2016 in the weightlifting competition, and Deng Wei of China would set a world record of 147 kilograms in the clean and jerk for a total score of 262 kilograms to win the women's 63 kg gold medal at those games, and this would still be a current record today. So there you have it. That's what happened on this day in sports history. If I mispronounced any names, I do apologize. If I left anything out, I also apologize. But I'll see everybody tomorrow for Nick Coach Wire and the 10th inning. See ya.